It's really hard to run downhill if you're sobbing because you can't really see. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Running Rants with Helen. As always, I'm Helen, and this is where I rant and talk about whatever I want. And I wanted to talk about my race at Telluride Mountain Run, and also just kind of my trip to Colorado. So I think an important thing is why I was even here in the first place, because I'm still here. We're at Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs, and the reason is because originally I was supposed to run Leadville. That was kind of the plan, and then the whole world thing happens, and then my whole schedule shifted, so I decided to run Telluride Mountain Run as my last race before Worlds, because oddly enough, the elevation profile was very, very similar to Worlds, which is kind of cool, just at altitude. So because of Leadville, I'd asked my dad to pace me for the last 13 miles, which then obviously ended up not happening, but he was already planning to come out to Colorado for like 2 weeks to get used to the altitude because he lives at sea level, and I don't know, I still wanted to hang out with him, and so we just kind of shifted the plans, and he still came out to Colorado, and we stayed near like Beaver Creek for a week, and that was a lot of fun. I got to do a bunch of really cool runs, like this loop near Mount of the Holy Cross, which is so pretty. And then my dad was just hiking while I was running, and he had never been to 14,000 feet, which I think is kind of funny. He just didn't care. And then within the span of 2 days, he said, actually, I care. I would like to go that high. So we did Albert. I ran it and then waited for him to hike. And then, yeah, we just got to do like a bunch of run hikes together or at the same time. We got to run together a tiny bit. And then after that, I went down to Telluride, and Lindsay, Allison, and Ryan Becker were nice enough to let me stay with them for the race, which was pretty fun. Yeah, so, and then, also I'm still here because Jacob's sister is getting married in 2 days. So then I just kind of extended my trip. So I've been in Colorado for like, I think 2 weeks now. And so Telluride Mountain Run, I ran a 24 miler. And I will say something that I really, really appreciate is when a loop is a distance and the race is that distance. Like, we're not gonna call it a marathon or try to make it a marathon. It's 24 miler, which I really appreciate. Yeah, and the race directors were nice enough to let me in because I had missed registration because of all the plan changes. So also, thanks to Lindsay for connecting me to them, which is so nice. So the loop, I guess technically it's a lollipop, but it's a loop. Starts down like in Telluride Town Park, and then you go up like a 4,500 foot climb at the beginning, and then you kind of like drop down. The first climb I think goes up to like 13,000 feet. There's a descent. You go up your second climb, and you end up at 13,500 feet, descend, and then you go up your third climb, which is kind of just like a mining road and then no trail to like your final longest descent. So the whole race has about like 9,000 feet of gain, and you go above 13,000 feet twice. And it was so much fun. I feel like I've been talking to like Jacob about this and thinking about it a lot, of like the whole reason why I run and like what, yeah, I guess like what the whole point of this is. And I think it's like the connection to our creator that I feel, whatever that means. But like, I think it's especially when I'm above 13,000 feet, and who knows, it may be a lack of oxygen in my brain, but I think it's like also just feeling so small, and like just the wonder of creation, and like the gratitude for getting to like experience these beautiful places. And sometimes, especially this last week, I really felt like me racing was getting in the way of it, because I just wanted to do all these runs before and after. Because if you haven't been to Telluride, like the access is insane, and it is so beautiful, and like there are just so many things I wanted to do, but not enough time, especially because I was racing. But then, so we started at 5:30 in the morning, which honestly a little early, but I get it because of the thunderstorms. And so we like go up the first climb, and the sun had risen, and the way like you drop off this backside into like this beautiful wildflower field, and there's all these huge mountains, and the sun was hitting them, and like I had to stop myself from like full on sobbing because it was so beautiful. And like I had that feeling of like, yeah, just like the connection to creation. And I was like, okay, but like maybe look down a little, because it's really hard to run downhill if you're sobbing, because you can't really see. And I don't know, I feel like that was cool because I don't normally get to have that experience during races. It's normally just during like big runs in mountains. And so that was pretty cool, because I feel like the whole week I was like, this is ruining everything I wanted to do, which is not true. So yeah, I guess the race, it went well. I won for women. I got second overall by like, I think 3 minutes. And then the previous course record was held by this woman, Becca, who was also racing. And she ran 5:45 that year. And I ran like 4:58, 4:57 high. So I got like a 47-minute course record, which is pretty cool. But also, like, I think maybe it was like the top 5 women all went under course record. Like, I know Lindsay had maybe run 5:47 before, and then she ran like, I think 5:07 or something. I don't know. I think I beat her by like 10 minutes. But she had over a 30-minute PR, which is also really cool. Yeah, it's fun too, because I feel like normally at home I feel pretty bad above 12,500 feet. And I just kind of figured, okay, that's just how I feel up there. But during this trip, I feel like bad between, let's say like 10 and 11 and a half. And then once I get like, especially above 13, I feel totally fine. And like, I'm actually still able to run pretty well, which is cool. But I think that was another sign against Leadville, because all of that is like in my bad zone. But okay, so I guess something that I wanted to talk about within this race too. Well, okay, one more thing. I think that this race was very well run, super low key, but also like very well done. Course markings, incredible. I can't even believe that the ridgeline we got to run is allowed, oh bunny, in permitting purposes, because that's insane, especially in the US. And they kept saying on the website, this is not a trail race, it is a technical mountain run, which I actually agree with. So I feel like this was like the perfect race for me, and it was so cool and so beautiful, and I think very well done. And our like finishers gift, I don't know what those are called, my little prize, I got a handmade coffee mug that like says TMR on it. I used it for the rest of the week, and I love cups like that. I got one from Whiskey Town Relays in 2013 and I still have it and I still use it. But I guess like one thing is, so I think I might have uploaded my Strava first, and so you like get the little crowns, and then other people run sections faster, so then you get the uh-oh email. I got some uh-oh emails, especially on downhills, and I read through some of the other girls' like Strava posts, and it was like pretty much everyone that I raced against either said, well, training run, or hard run with some efforts in there, or didn't taper, or like made comments, or felt bad here, or this part went wrong. And it just had me thinking about it because, like, quite honestly, I think we're all in a build training for something. I think that we all didn't taper. Even if someone did, it doesn't really matter. I just think like the sandbagging or the like putting excuses in your Strava recap is just like, to me, feels like bad form. And just a little disrespectful of like, well, maybe this went wrong, but like, that's why. Or it's like you're trying to caveat your performance of like, well, this is why. Which, I don't know, I think I just don't agree with, because like, I've said it before, even when I feel bad, it doesn't matter, because who's to say that if I feel good, I would run any better? Like, who's to say, like, if you had tapered, maybe something would have happened, or you would have been so fresh that like you blew up your legs on a downhill and then you would have run slower. So I think it's just like, I don't know, especially in Strava things, it's just like, we all signed up for a race, we all tried. I don't think we have to be like, well, actually I didn't try, because I think kind of the point of races is trying, and no matter what the day is, like, something will happen. Like, the perfect day is very hard to come by. Although, I will say, I ran Mount of the Holy Cross and I did this loop, and I told my dad, oh yeah, I'll be back in the car in like 5 or 6 hours. And then he saw it and he was like, oh, that's gonna take her like 6 hours for sure. I've never felt that good running, maybe in my whole life. I feel like normally you get an uphill that feels good or a downhill that feels good. Like, you don't normally get both, or like technical feels good, or like, you know, there's like something. It all felt incredible, and that is very hard to come by. I got above 13,000 feet and I said, holy shit, I can run and I feel great. And so maybe sometimes those perfect days do exist. I haven't quite had it on a race, but oh yeah, because you could either do an out and back or do the loop, but the loop was going to take longer, even though they're like pretty similar in distance, just because there's like more off trail like ridgeline stuff. And I was like, okay, if I don't make it to the top in 2.5 hours, then I will redo it, or like I'll just turn around. I don't need to do the loop. I think I made it to the top in like 1:19. I don't actually remember. I'll put that there. But I was like, oh, I don't have to turn around. So that was fun. Yeah. I don't know. I guess like maybe it's just like people's insecurities when they end up like going to races and it feels like a time to prove yourself, and maybe it doesn't align with how you wanted it to go. So you keep those excuses in your back pocket to be like, well, this is why. I don't know. Yeah, like maybe I would have done the same exact thing if I hadn't won. I don't think so. But like, I don't know. I'm not going to go through all the things that like didn't go perfect in my race, because I just don't think that it's like useful. Because it also doesn't make anyone else feel better. Like, I mean, I guess that's not the point of it, but like, if I had won and like set a course record, and then I went through like, well, this wasn't right, and this wasn't right, and this thing, like, that's just not productive for anyone. And I feel like it's not that nice.
You had a perfect day, or close to it, on Mount of the Holy Cross. What do you attribute that to?
Like, being so happy. I don't know. Like, I mean, we've talked about it. I've lived in Truckee for 7 years now, and the trail access is great. But I think that something that really excites me is running in new places and experiencing new things, and being up in big mountains. And I feel like that I've like kind of exhausted my options in Truckee. And now I've just started doing like heinous connections that like don't even really make sense, and I'm just in Manzanita, because I feel like that's the part that I get so stoked on. And so I think like getting to come to a place where I had never been, that it's like, oh dear, like where the mountains feel so big, I think like that definitely adds to it. I don't know what it was. That was crazy though. So if I ever feel like that again, watch out. I'm gonna do something crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably just me being happy. I think also like when you're at home, there's always a million things to do. Like laundry or sweep or go to the store. But it's like when I'm on vacation, running vacation, it's like all I have to do really is run and eat. And so I think generally I'm just like way more chill too.
So it's been a while since you've talked about your new miles challenge. Can you touch on what that is for people that don't know, and like how that's going? Kind of give an update.
Yeah, I use this website called Wanderer, and it connects to Strava, and it tells you how many new miles you've run. So my goal for 2025 was to run 1,000 new miles, and I was pretty much home, or around home, for a lot of July. Oh, and it doesn't count off-trail stuff. So like a lot of my miles in the east side don't count, which I get. So I kind of fell behind, but I think I'm almost caught back up. I think I have to run like 80 something new miles a month, and I think I'm like 12 miles behind right now. So
for the year?
Yeah, for the year. So I think I'll catch up, especially with Worlds and Argentina and being here. It's funny though, I've been to Colorado 2 other times, and I feel like never really been that stoked on it until now. Like, this place is sick. Telluride, I want to live there. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy the stuff you can access from like the middle of town. So maybe next summer I'll get to spend a summer in Telluride or something. But yeah, I am way more stoked on Colorado this time around. Although, like I said, I didn't know Springs was a huge humid city.
How are you feeling, and like what What does your training look like going into Worlds?
I don't know what my training looks like going forward. For the last 5 weeks, I've been running like 18 to 20 hours with like 18 to 24,000 feet of vert. So a lot of walking. I feel good. My foot thing, like the ball of my foot thing, went away. I think it's from acupuncture. So shout out Dr. Tara Kulikov. She fixes a lot of my problems. But I think she fixed my foot. So that's cool. I actually feel fine. I think part of it too, like Lindsay and Ryan were nice enough to let me stay with them after TMR. And so Lindsay and I got to do some pretty cool runs together, and she was kind of like tour guiding Telluride for me, which was really fun. And I ran more than I normally would after a race, and I think it was just, I really wanted to seize the day of my environment, take advantage of it, but I wouldn't normally run that much after a race. But all things considered, I feel good. Yesterday, Jacob and I did the incline and then up to bar camp, and I don't know how you, like, I think I tried too hard on the incline. Like, I don't know how you don't try hard, because otherwise, like, you're just not moving. So, but then downhill felt really good. So, who knows? Not me. I feel fine. And I'm just, like, happy to be healthy and stoked on jogging. Yeah, if you have a favorite mountain in Colorado, drop it in the comments below. One of the things I really wanted to do that I didn't get to do was running up Red Cloud and Sunshine, because I love Sunshine and my middle name's Red Cloud, and so I thought that would be kind of cool, but didn't pan out, which just means I get to come back. So if you have a favorite mountain in Colorado, drop it in the comments. This has been another episode of Running Rants with Helen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.